Hey, happy, beautiful, amazing day. I'm Dr. Bob Rakowski here out of Houston, Texas. And today I'm going to talk to you about simple strategies to get better energy and a better life. We're going to call these biohacks, simple things that we can do to change our physiology and our chemistry to optimize our energy. So, over the course of the next 10 minutes, my strategy is simple. I'm going to share with you simple, proven, doable strategies that will both optimize your energy and your life. I'm going to turn the clock back nearly 40 years ago. And sadly, this was something like how I felt. I felt like I needed to pry my eyeballs open during the day. I didn't have the energy to focus or concentrate or get through the day. And I didn't understand why. So that started a journey of study and application and literally turning myself into a human guinea pig, trying things and seeing how they worked. Well, they worked so well for me that I started sharing them with others and making a formal study. And ultimately, that led to me treating world champion athletes in every major professional sport over the last 30 years. By the way, I've also treated the other end of the spectrum, sometimes people who were sent home to die, and yet we were able to use some of these strategies to optimize their energy, their life, and extend their life dramatically. I've also taught doctors all over the world a number of topics in natural medicine, over 10,000 hours of content on 6 different contents. And there's some principles that I like. Tony Robbins is a great mentor. He says that complexity is the enemy of execution. In other words, you've got to keep it really simple if you want people to follow through. And that also matches what Warren Buffett said. Simple has always worked for me. I was at a conference years ago and there was a world champion athlete there, and he had so much energy. And one of the audience members asked, "How do you have so much energy?" And his answer was profound. He said, "The only way you have energy is to earn energy. And we're going to show some simple strategies that you can earn energy." So, this is a picture of Tom Rath. I believe he's Amazon.com's all time best selling author. In this picture, he's 45 years old and he looks pretty good, but that's remarkable because when he was age 16, he lost an eyeball to cancer and was told he would not live past the age of 37. But he wrote a book called Eat, Move, Sleep, and he began to realize, you know what, when I eat better, the tumors that are throughout my body shrink. When I move better, the right amount, not too much, not too little, the right amount for me, my tumors shrink. And when I sleep better, and we'll talk about strategies to do that, his tumors shrink. So, yes, at age 16, he had tumors throughout his body. They were supposed to grow unchecked, but he began to realize that eating, moving, and sleeping were the keys. And so we'll talk about simple biohacks to eat better, move better, and sleep better. So if we want to maximize our health, we want to eat less food, less often, and certainly food that is less toxic. And how are we going to do that? Well, there's a concept called intermittent fasting. And what I know is that people don't eat while they sleep, but certainly there's a window before and after that we can stop eating as well. So, a very simple strategy is to start eating later in the day and quit eating earlier. To optimize your intermittent fast, it says you should not eat for a minimum of 14 hours every single day. And most people aren't ready to start out at that level. So you can go gradually, but there are some simple strategies to make it easier to go without food. I always like to teach people, we've heard the phrase little old lady and little old man. We haven't heard big old lady, big old man. Why? Because big people don't get to be old. So, obesity is a risk factor for about everything under the sun, including death and cancer. So, it's a well known fact that most processed foods, at least in this country, are engineered to be addictive. So, how are you going to avoid that food addiction? Well, quite simply, we'll show you you don't want to buy the processed food. So, here's a published medical study: 94% of rats prefer processed sugar to cocaine, and that's just one of many addictive chemicals in food. So when you look at the way that most supermarkets are arranged, they find that the periphery of the store has foods that are generally pretty natural, pretty good for you, and it's the center aisles that are most challenging. So here's a simple biohack. Buy your willpower at the store. Don't go down the processed food aisles, or if you're that prone to buying things like that, have someone else do your shopping. Easier today than ever. And two of my favorite biohacks, coffee is always welcome on intermittent fasting. And we're going to talk about functional beverages and functional coffee for in a brief moment. But also there are fibers that have a very gelatinous pudding-like texture. They're very, very filling and they essentially have no calories. So coffee and fiber are two of my favorite biohacks. If you've never heard of the term functional beverages or functional foods, there are over 80,000 medical studies with the National Library of Medicine database and over 3,000 of those studies on coffee. So quite simply, a functional beverage is something that has a little extra in it that enhances health. So when we start talking about functional coffees, we can get coffees that increase our satiety, decrease our cravings, decrease the prone to addiction, and even enhance our energy and health in other ways. Now we'll move on to motion. It's said that life is motion. We certainly want to move better to live better. Pretty famous Einstein quote, nothing happens until something moves. Most of us want to make something happen in our life, so we have to move and move better. And I love Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. His third habit is first things first. So, what should you do first? I believe you should move your body. So, there's a test which is called the Wingate Cycle Test. This test has been around for about 30 years. And what they do is they have people warm up for a few minutes and then they pedal all out for 30 seconds. And when they followed a group of people that did that, and that was their only form of exercise, that all out 30 seconds was enough to improve their body composition, their tissue health, their aerobic capacity, their anaerobic capacity. So they lost fat, they built muscle, and they became more fit with essentially 30 seconds of all out effort. And it worked in every demographic that they tested. If you want to take a little more time, there was a Japanese researcher named Tabata, and quite simply, he found out that you could get fitter in just 4 minutes a day. So he would schedule 8 rounds of exercise, 20 seconds of all out exercise, 10 seconds of recovery, 8 rounds of that, 8 rounds times 30 seconds each, that's 4 minutes. Finally, when we talk about sleep, a great day starts the night before. Think about a night that you're very well rested. Usually that day goes better. As one of my mentors says, without a good night's sleep, we tend to walk around like tall 2-year-olds, right? A little cranky, a little crabby, just not very good at interacting with the world. So this book is called Peak. Anders Ericsson was the world's foremost authority on peak performance. And when he looked at the best of the best in any field that they looked at, whether it was music, whether it was athletics, whether it was acting, whether it was academics, whether it was research, they found out that people that slept 8.6 hours a night on the average were the people that rose to the top of their field. A simple fact, these screens, these blue lights are very, very disruptive to our sleep. They emit blue light, which inhibits melatonin, which is the body's sleep molecule. So here's a simple biohack. Get a nighttime routine. There's plenty of kids that, they start calming down. They maybe get a nice warm bath. They get tucked in with a story. Well, we can do something very, very similar. Create a nighttime routine where we have at least an hour before bed, which is really dedicated towards winding down. One of my favorite things is an electronic sunset. So shut off all electronics at least 1 hour before bed. That will eliminate the blue light. And as you can see, I have Blu-ray blocking glasses because why not protect yourself from that blue light Why not all day long enhance your melatonin secretion? So here's a summary of our biohacks. We want to buy our willpower at the store, either shop in the periphery or pay someone else to do it. You can get functional coffees that enhance fat burning and energy and satiety. You can get fibers that are almost like puddings that are nice and filling with no calories. You can do 30 seconds all out after a 2-minute warm up, or 4 minutes, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, 8 cycles of that, a nice electronic sunset, and then these blue blocking glasses. Simple biohacks that can give us better energy and better life. We can all do it. Give it a try and make our world better. And as I like to close, I'm Dr. Bob Rakowski, absolutely knowing that we can all be happy, healthy, and successful.